Okay, today I'm going to do a quote-unquote tabletop review of the Hi-Point JHP 45 ACP pistol. And as you can probably tell right now, I'm actually out in the middle of the woods, so it's not actually a tabletop, it is a stump, but that's cool. I just got done firing a total of 150 rounds through this gun, and so now I'm ready to do a quick review on it, or perhaps reasonably quick. Now this is my first pistol review, so bear with me. I do have quite a few talking points today, and I have a second page. I'm going to try to go down as quickly as possible, and this is likely going to be a multiple part video. I'm not sure how many yet, but later on, I also actually recorded the videos of me shooting, so I am going to show those videos as well. That way this will give you an idea of whether or not this is the right gun for you. Again, this is the Hi-Point model JHP 45 caliber rifle. And real quick, I did put some duct tape over the serial number just so everyone on the internet wouldn't know what my serial number is. But in case you take a look at that little gray part there and you don't know what it is duct tape just covering up the serial number. Now the reason I'm doing this video review is because when I did check reviews out on YouTube, I really didn't see a lot of reviews actually going over this gun. There were some that were just totally ragging on the gun, and they were made with kind of a practical joke in mind and actually kind of ignorant about it, and they didn't really tell you the good points of the gun or anything. So I decided to do this to help you guys out a bit. Now the first thing you're going to notice about this gun most likely is it's pretty ugly looking. Now it is growing on me a bit, and it's starting to look a little bit better, but you are going to notice it is kind of an ugly looking gun. You see how they have a screw here, visible on both sides, fairly tactful, and I know it is what it is. But before we go too much into the gun details, I think it's important to look at what Hi-Point Firearms really is. And on their website, they have value means offering the most gun for the dollar, and Hi-Point proudly delivers. So with that said, this gun, the manufacturer suggested retail price is $200. That is very, very inexpensive for a 45 caliber gun, and for really any type of gun whatsoever. So Hi-Point's objective here is to market to those who may not have a lot of money, or who don't want to spend $500, $600, $700 or more on a gun. So they are after the people who only have maybe about $200 to spend on their gun. And I think they are doing a good job at that. And as I say, value means offering the most gun for the dollar. And I'll be honest with you right up front that there is a lot of features and it is great value for the money. Surely if you want to spend $600, $700, you are going to be able to buy a gun that's better than it. But for the price, it is excellent. And let's see. And I think the review must be made with the understanding that this gun is indeed inexpensive, and it was manufactured to be that way. And to make it inexpensive, they have to kind of make certain parts cheaper, use cheaper parts, and as a result the gun is a little bit unattractive. But on to size and weight. The website for Hi-Point says that this model is 35 ounces. Now I don't know what the heck they're actually measuring on there, because when I put this on my electric scale at home, it actually is 45.4 ounces. That's with it unloaded with a magazine in. Without the magazine, it's 42.2 ounces, so the magazine actually just weighs 3.2 ounces. So it is a very heavy gun. Probably going to be one of the heaviest handguns that you've ever held. And that's going to be one of the biggest things that everybody comments on it. That's going to be the first thing that you're going to notice, is that it's heavy. And it's kind of top heavy. The reason for that is to reduce the cost of the gun. They're using a metal that is a less quality grade metal, so to bring it up to the same strengths of other guns, they have to increase the thickness and the weight of it. So it's not that the slide, for example, is any less quality than some other guns. It's that it's probably about the same quality in terms of its reliability, but to get that same reliability, they had to make it much, much thicker. To get a metal that's just as strong but much more lightweight, it costs a lot more money. So that's why it is so heavy. And as such, you're going to feel the weight. Now, not so much when you're shooting, because the good thing is, because it is heavier, because there is more mass to it, you're not going to feel the recoil as much. So there is a bit of a benefit to it. Now, the gun length is 7.75 inches. So it is a full-sized handgun. And you're probably going to notice that it's slightly longer than other competitors that are a little more in the $500, $600 range, such as Glock. And you're going to see here in a minute that I am going to compare this gun to a Glock Model 21. Now, before we get into that, however, I'm going to finish off by saying that the barrel length is 4.5 inches, and as you probably know, the longer the barrel, the more velocity and accuracy you get out of the bullet, which is good. And the sight radius I measured, it's about 6.75 inches, and I measured from the middle of this sight to the middle of this sight. The longer the sight radius is, the easier it is to keep on target, because with the short sight radius, a little bit of your movement in your hand is going to make a big difference on coming off of target. So you do have a decent sight radius, as you will get with most full-size guns. And compared to the Glock 21, which is Glock's full-size 45 caliber ACP pistol, and I'm going to start off by asking the question, is it really fair to compare to Glock? And in some aspects, no. This is not intended to be the same quality as what a Glock pistol is, or for Ruger or XD or any other of your favorite guns are. I'm not going to just focus on Glock, but I just looked up the specifics of a Glock to have some sort of a reference point to compare it to. In other words, when I tell you that this gun weighs 45.4 pounds, it's important to have a reference point, because to a lot of people 45.4 ounce is going to mean nothing. So, but when I compare it to a well-known name brand pistol, it puts everything in perspective. So as such, the Glock Model 21 weighs only 26.28 ounces unloaded. So that's a big difference. This gun is going to weigh 19.12 ounces more. That's over a pound more. And that's to no surprise. Again, they're using a cheap metal that they must make it thick and heavy so that it will stand up to round after round of firing. But that keeps the cost down. It is going to be heavy, kind of heavy to carry, depending on how you're doing it. Now, I'm going to get into the specifics here in a little bit, but this is not going to be a concealed carry weapon at all, which most full-size pistols are not going to be, can be able to be concealed very easily. So as such, I think it's going to be a gun that, you know, you're going to keep around the house for self-defense, or perhaps you can carry it out in the woods where concealability isn't that big of an issue. Maybe a shoulder holster, a hip holster. In the upcoming videos of me shooting, I actually kept it in a magazine, a rifle magazine pouch on my tactical vest, and actually I really couldn't feel the weight too much. But something like that is not going to be feasible in everyday carry. Now, the Glock 21, it's a length of 7.59 inches, so this Hi-Point is going to be 0.16 inches longer. So that's actually not too bad. The dimensions aren't too much bigger. So it's going to be about the same look, or the same feel at least, of a Glock 21 as far as its size. The Glock 21, the barrel length is 4.6 inches. So the Glock has an advantage yet again of having a barrel that's 0.1 inches larger. Honestly, that's not going to make much difference as far as firing. But with a gun that is heavier and a little bit longer, with having a little shorter barrel, or short barrel, you kind of see how it is a cheaper pistol. Now, the sight radius of a Glock is listed on the site to be 6.77 inches. That's just 0.02 inches greater than what I measured, and I may not be measuring extremely accurate, so actually the sight radius is about the same. So that's pretty cool. It compares pretty closely to that of a Glock. Excuse me. Now, however, the price of a Glock is going to cost you about $600. Same with XD. H&Ks are going to be more than that, 800, 900 bucks for a 45. You get into classic 1911 models, you're breaking past the $1,000 mark. So again, I do want to let you know that there are better guns out there, absolutely, but for the price, you're not going to find a better gun than this, at least that I've seen. And if you come across any, let me know, please. Even Taurus, they manufacture relatively low price guns, but they're still $400, $500. So for the price, Hi-Point really kicks butt. Now, on to firepower. Now, okay, let's safety check it real quick. I did it before the video started, so it's not necessarily crucial that I do it, but just for purposes, I'm going to demonstrate that. We are empty. Firepower. The magazine is single stacked and it holds 9 rounds, which isn't too bad. The Glock 21 is going to hold 13 rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber. So again, this falls short of the Glock in that it can only hold 9 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber, but still 10 rounds is decent. You know, you're going to be able to get the job done, I think, in 10 rounds in most cases. Plus you practice carrying, you know, 2-3 mags extra, and you practice swapping them out quickly, and in most instances that will work. For a very long time, police departments used a 38 special revolver that carried, I believe, 6 rounds. So, you know, 4 extra rounds in that, I think you're doing pretty well. Again, I don't think you're going to be able to conceal this gun well, but if you're in a condition where you really don't have to conceal it, that might be an option to carry it. Now, the good thing about the single stack magazine is it is a little bit easier to load, that I found. The double stack magazine, since they're staggered a little bit, they tend to push on the sidewalls of the magazine, creating friction that makes it a little harder to push in. So I do find this magazine easier to load. It is very lightweight, and also kind of cheap. I think that if you were to drop this and step on it, you may bend it to the point where it's going to have feeding issues. So that is a problem. These magazines are relatively inexpensive to purchase, so it's not too big of a deal, but you are going to have to kind of baby it. Now, I haven't had any problems so far with 150 rounds, and I do get in the habit of just, you know, kind of quickly doing that. You know, I mean, I don't extremely baby it, but you drop it and you step on it, it's probably going to screw it up enough to where it's not going to work. But that's the price you pay for a cheap gun, as is the Hi-Point. Now back to firepower. The 45 ACP round, it has proven reliability. It's inherently accurate, a great man stopper. It's a great round. And as far as shooting, I think that you're going to get about the same performance with this as you are with a Glock, H&K, SIG, whatever. Now, I'm sure there's going to be people out here that argue with it, and I just, you know, I haven't shot all these different guns, so I'm not an end-all expert on different firearms, but it does shoot very nicely and accurate, as you will see. So I think you are getting a great 45 gun for the price. And recoil is minimal, as I've already stated. The gun is kind of like a mini tank. It is heavy, and as such, firing a 45 round, not too much recoil because of all the mass that's there, and that's good. So, you know, if you are in a position where you're using it to protect you or your loved one's life, you can keep the gun on target and fire multiple rounds until the target is neutralized. On to accuracy and reliability. I touched on this already. And I'm going to say that it is about as accurate as any pistol I've ever shot. Again, I haven't shot hundreds and hundreds, but maybe a couple dozen different firearms, handguns in my life. So, and it is pretty accurate. I put 150 rounds through this. Let me say also that this is not jammed on me at all, and that's really a big issue. Some reviews talking about it jamming and stuff, and I don't really know what to make of that. Maybe they had a bad handgun that they should be sending back to the factory. I put through two different types of ammo, one being the tall ammo, which is a Russian-made, very dirty ammunition, and it hasn't jammed on me at all. No stovepipes, failures to feed, or any